So this month is all about the Beatitudes. As we look at the Beatitudes, which kick off the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, we will certainly reference these three different versions, because I think it's so interesting. Written by three different writers, supposedly about the same account, but you will note differences. And we're really only going to focus in on three Beatitudes. People say there are 8 in the book of Matthew, which is the biggest. I say 9. When I read them to you, you can be the judge. But nevertheless, we're going to focus on the 3 that appear clearly in all 3 versions. Okay? Some even say, I talk about it being all about the same account. Some say that the Luke version was a synopsis of Matthew. Some say that the extra verses in the Beatitudes that aren't found in the Lukean version or in the Gospel of Thomas were interjected by the writer himself. All very interesting theories, all very, very fascinating to learn about. But here today, we're going to focus in on the message and see how we can extract the message and use it to the benefit of our lives and the lives of those around us. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take it. The Sermon on the Mount, the book of Matthew, is the longest teaching of Jesus. In the Matthew version, it takes 100 verses long. So it's the longest one that we have on record. As I said, the Beatitudes kicked that off. Jesus was attempting to instruct us on how to create the kingdom of heaven on earth. I mentioned the kingdom of heaven several times, right, in the meditation. It is here we will learn a blueprint for a most satisfying life if we choose to interpret it for ourselves. Because you're going to hear my interpretation. You'll hear other people's definition of words, certainly Charles from Emmett Fox, but you'll hear mine. What is the most interesting is yours. Again, we're going to go over 3. Hopefully we inspire ourselves to do a self-study on the others, right? Because there's at least 5, and depending who you talk to, 6 others in Matthew. And the versions, and especially in Thomas, I encourage you to read the Gospel of Thomas. I think you can find it free online in certain sections too. Yeah, you should be able to, as a matter of fact, memory serves me. So, the sermon took place in Capernaum on the Sea of Galilee. The author of the first version that we'll look at, Matthew's version, is Matthew. And it was said to be written between 60 and 65 AD. And again, I mentioned this before, Matthew's great objective was to prove Jesus of Nazareth as the Messiah. So if you're familiar with it, you'll hear that that's really the intent behind it. The gospel is full of allusions to those passages of the Old Testament in which Christ is predicted and foreshadowed, right? No surprise there. The form of each beatitude is kind of strange. It's kind of atypical to other Bible stories and Bible verses. It's somewhat cryptic and becomes more so as we start to compare these different versions. The important part is that each of us will take these away and make them our own. Extract what's useful to us. Extract what is useful and helpful in our own lives. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. What do we mean? So the first word we need to look at is blessed. What does it mean? Some say it means happiness. Happy are those. We could say it means made holy, consecrated, those who live with God in heaven. For me, this means to experience the joy of God, or to experience life from my Christ center, or from my Christ self. That's what it means for me. It directs me to act this way. The Beatitudes are instruction, right? If you want to capture the kingdom of heaven, if we even know what that is, then be poor in spirit. Okay, so let's get to it. What does poor in spirit mean? On the surface, is it instructing me to be demure or depressed? What is it instructing me to do? To not ever be happy? Well, if I just told you blessed means to be happy, that doesn't seem right. Not at all. In Emmett Fox's book, The Sermon on the Mount, which some of you have read, I know for sure, we will see that this actually means, and I quote from Emmett, to empty yourself of all desire to exercise personal will. And he goes on to say, all preconceived notions of what you believe God to be, and emptying out all my judgments, all my preconceived notions. Do away with that. That's what he's saying, poor in spirit. We're being asked to do away with anything that may keep us from finding and understanding God. What is God to me? Not my possessions, not my judgments, thoughts, ideas, or attitudes. None of these should prevent me from becoming closer to God. In other words, let us not refuse or reject good because we are getting in our own way. Let's get out of our own way. And what are some of the most popular ways that we use as a group to get in our own way, as a people? We trust way too much in what our senses and opinions tell us. Right? Those of you who know, I've been going through a thing where they still haven't diagnosed me. How do I feel? How do I feel? How do I go? Well, this way, that way. I am feeling better. Thank you, and thank you for the prayers. I know Cherie has brought it up many a time because you all come and tell me, and I thank you. But that's really not the important piece. Who am I mostly? Who am I first and foremost? A divine being, a child of the Most High. And I have chosen through a very specific affirmation or affirmative prayer that I've created to stick with that, to affirm that, to live from that place. It's a choice. I can live from or I can live from that place. And that's what I do. That's what I do. Do we believe that money brings us this happiness or blessedness? I mean, how many people have been focused on the money they do or don't have, even in the last 48 hours? I know I have. I know I have. What about a job, or a car, or a house, or any material possession? How about a certain relationship? Or title? Will we be happy when we make VP? When we have clearer skin? When we get to retire? I know I've hung my hat on a lot of those. Do we understand that we can be blessed right now? Right now. Just by stepping out of the way and ceasing to interfere with our own communion with God. If we identify these temporary things that we persist in believing create our happiness, we have a shot at happiness, divine happiness, joy, the kind that lasts a lifetime. So, kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven, as defined by Charles Fillmore in The Revealing Word, Unity's co-founder, Charles Fillmore, is a state of consciousness in which the soul and the body are in harmony with divine mind. I'll read it again. A state of consciousness in which the soul and the body are in harmony with divine mind. Let's look at it. Thoughts that we hold, where we have internal alignment across our body, the physical body, our soul, emotions, subconscious, what have you, and divine mind. Just another name for God. Divine mind is God. So alignment between our human selves and our divine selves. So the kingdom of heaven is a state of mind. It's a state of alignment such as this. It's not some far off place. So at any point that we achieve that state of alignment, we can be living at the level of the kingdom of heaven. So to sum up the first beatitude then that we are looking at, it's saying you, dear heart, can have this wonderful, peaceful, blissful alignment if you get out of your own way, abandon yourself to God, surrender your old way of thinking and doing in favor of a much better, much more consistent, healthier way in every sense of the word. Or to be put more succinctly, turn to God first, last, and always, and have a great life. Turn to God first, last, and always, and have a great life. Blessed is he who is poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So that is my interpretation. Turn to God, live a great life. You might have a different interpretation, but as I break it down in all those components, that's what I have. Turn to God. Nothing